told me about you.
Okay, okay. Okay, great. Good, you came. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, everybody, welcome to Dil Ki Baatein with me, Gouri Dange. I'm a counselor and writer. And as part of their programming, JNS Life's programming, I will appear here on Fridays, 4 to 5, to field questions which come to us over the week on affairs of the heart with of seniors, whether it is marriages, romantic relationships, relationships with their children, retirement woes, non-medical things
Yeah.
that we'll be looking at here. Sorry. So we've done three sessions so far, 3 weeks. What did we have? We had just a quick roundup of the kind of questions for people who've come here for the first time. We had somebody writing to us about being a widower and now looking to being in a relationship with somebody with and having now problems from his grown children who are not in a mood to accept this. That was one thing. And who's the lady who he was meeting, her children were completely happy and on board about it. So we looked at that, this whole thing of, the second chance at a relationship and how that has to be sensitively handled. And yet a senior is not necessarily supposed to be all apologetic and embarrassed about looking for love and companionship. The second one we had was about there was this retired bureaucrat who was happy to hang up her boots and um, relax completely at home, binge watch television, read, not be as her
Winter.
daughter expected, not be doing stuff which is a overflow from her work life. Daughter expected her to do much more what she thought was brain stuff. You must lecture, you must write, you must do this, you must do that. And it had come to a point where this lady who wrote to us was saying that I literally, pretend to be reading more intellectual stuff. When my daughter comes, I leave my finance books around. I quickly switch channels if I'm watching a Sasbahu serial. And how do I deal with this? That was something we discussed. And last week was about grieving. The theme was about grieving after the loss of a spouse or a long time partner, and what is the prescribed, how much is um, uh, enough. Why we came to the conclusion that there is no prescribed time to grieve and to move on. And we looked at that and about the expectations of society or the rest of the family from you, and how you manage those expectations and your actual and are true to yourself too. So today's theme, we had talked about, I had announced it at the end of last Friday's show. Today's theme is this business of seniors expecting their grown children to be their marriage counselors. So I'll tell you the question, which has come from one Randhir S. Randhir is not the person who's experiencing this. He's the brother of a couple. Uh, he's written, my older sister and her husband have had a rocky marriage, but pulled along for the sake of the children. But now they're in their late 60s and don't work or go out much anymore. They fight continuously. We have tried to counsel them, ask them to meet a counselor, find things to do that are separate from each other, but they simply cannot and will not. Their grown children are feeling the burden of sorting out their emotional issues. Their 30-plus-year-old daughter is particularly exhausted but cannot be firm with them, and it is causing tensions in her marriage too. Now, even teenage grandchildren are getting drawn into this situation as they hear their grandparents continue to taunt and bicker with each other, even when there are family meetups. Please suggest a way out. Their daughter is almost daily, meaning this is the senior's daughter, the 30-plus daughter, is almost daily listening to the parents' issues with each other on her drive to work for over 1 hour. Please throw some light on such situation. I will get all those involved to listen to your session live or on YouTube. Okay. Thanking you in advance, Randhir. Okay, so let us look at this where it is not uncommon and yet it is not advisable for grown children to be pulled into long-standing marital issues of their parents. While it may seem natural for parents to confide in their grown children, or kisko batayenge is the feeling. You know how it was, meaning the child knows how it was, the child was there, he knows the people involved, he or she. बाहर जाके stranger को क्यों बताऊं? These are some of the this is some of the thinking of people who, without realizing it, are beginning to use their children as full-fledged counselors. It may be our unconscious justification for turning to our grown children for emotional help in old marriages, old and troubled marriages. This may be our unconscious justification. But using your children as full-fledged counselors is generally not appropriate, as it first of all blurs the boundaries of the parent-child relationship, and it puts some very undue emotional pressure on the adult child. It also stops you, the older person, from seeking professional help that may be required. Lack this, your child does not have the professional expertise. They may know you well, they may know the situation well, they may know it too well, they may have grown up in the shadow of fighting parents, all of that. But they don't have the equipment to counsel you to change. If you say nothing's going to change, I'm just using my child to vent, I would say even that is an unfair pressure on your child. You can't use your relationships as, as a pressure cooker whistle to just let off the steam. We must also remember that that our children themselves, who are in this age group, are dealing with a lot of their own stuff, whether it is work, finances, their own relationships, their children maybe. They may have just a very small bandwidth to listen to this. Of course, children can be and will be empathetic, will give you a listening ear. But the detachment needed, to provide specific solutions, that is, if you are looking for solutions and not looking just to vent. But the detachment that is needed is not there. The child has been inside this. You're also putting your children on the spot, usually to kind of take sides. They are treading on very thin ice when they advise you, because they don't know if it's likely that you will say, you don't understand me, you always take your daddy's side, or the other way around. It puts them in a spot to come up with solutions from the outside like that. Since they can see both sides, your children can see both sides. It is also very awkward and emotionally distressing for them to mediate or to pinpoint कि कौन किधर गलत सोच रहा है, कर रहा है, गलत कदम उठा रहा है, who needs to change, what needs to change. This is a full-time engagement that is needed if there is vexed marriages that are disturbing you so much that it's coming up time and again in your interaction with your loved ones, with your children. Also, by pouring all this out on them, you leave. Sorry, I put that off. One second. I'm saying that by pouring out like this on them, children can be left feeling helpless, just helpless. Where at the end of that conversation, especially if the seniors involved keep coming up with what we call in counseling, problem for every solution. The child is continuously pulling tricks out of their hat. That, then why don't you do this? Why don't you say that? maybe you could do this, but you're saying, the senior may end up saying, no, 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 but listen to me, but that hasn't worked. I tried this, I tried that. This is a full-fledged counseling session that you are, I mean, I feel bad for this young woman who's driving to and from work, listening to this, trying to sort this thing out between her parents. You know, most importantly, as I was saying, grown children have their plates full, whether it is jobs, that, or even internal issues that may stem from growing up with parents who have not got along. That is something they're already carrying with them in their interactions. So while we age and move into seniorhood, super seniorhood, we talk about seniors as 60 to 75 roughly, and 75 and up is super seniorhood. While we are age and move into seniorhood and super seniorhood, ऐसे कोई areas बिल्कुल है, no doubt. There are areas we can expect help and support from our children, of course. And sometimes it comes naturally as part of the process of them taking on a more nurturing role. Uh, uh, and it happens organically. It could be with things like help with you managing your health, your living arrangements, your finances. But it's important, they will also help you with this, but it's important for you to come up with your own sense of purpose and things to occupy yourself with. If you're in a marriage where the companionship is barely there, and or you may be single, but in this case, because the question involves two seniors fighting, bickering, and drawing their children in, I'm saying if you're in a marriage where there is no commonality, there was maybe never, but now there is none left, and the only common grounds is bickering and fault finding, then the onus is on you to find things, and here your child can help you, but cannot be your counselor and cannot be your life coach. It can help you find something that takes you into some other realm, which is not, which can be separate from your spouse, and which can give you meaning, which can get you to meet people who are more emotionally engaging situations. That is mainly our responsibility to think on those lines. While children have access to so many more resources, they've heard so many things. If you come up with a healthy, non-toxic appeal to your child, the toxic appeal is do something. Tell your father or tell your mother, do something. मुझे इससे बचाओ. That's not the thing. The non-toxic way is saying, sitting down and saying, I need to find things to occupy me and take me away from this constant watching of each other. Then your child has something to hang on to help you with. Something that helps you cope with living in a marriage, because maybe it's too late to separate. And the grown child then can show you some avenues, perhaps. This is one thing. One thing I have seen from so many people in this situation is that one of the reasons, possibly, that a senior keeps harping about something that they feel they have been wronged or unfairly treated or have not been given the chance to blossom or whatever it is. One thing could be that there is this feeling that for some of them, that किसी को idea है क्या? Does anyone have any idea what it has taken me to remain in this thing or to live with this person? Fair enough if you feel that you have not been heard out ever, and all you are now indulging in is little, small explosions. Maybe one of the things is that you, instead of just bringing it out in these little toxic outbursts, you sit your child down and say, I just want to tell you that this is what it was about. I'm not asking you to give solutions. I just want to know, maybe you have no idea what various things that we have shouldered, though we didn't want to. Say he or me, my wife or me, my husband or me. But that is once and for all, not to be brought out all the time. After that, how to process all that is your work. whether with a counselor or any other source. But it has to be processed. Now, it can't just be, I am going to tell you my awful story, and then I will bring it out every time there's a problem. This I'm saying to people who feel they've never been fully heard out. They've kept up appearances for the sake of children. They have moved ahead. And there is a rising bitterness that I've never been heard out. My suggestion to that is to either sit and write it all down, but write it down as part of a process, not as now the visa and passport to keep pulling your children into your marital issues. It is it is as harmful. This kind of stuff is as harmful as, what is it, plaque buildup in the arteries, fatty liver, whatever. These are deposits, and we do something about it, right? We will go, we'll seek a doctor out, and we will try and reduce the impact of whatever that is. And I think old and difficult marriages have their own toxic buildup, and that has to be at some way addressed. But your children are not, just like your child can't do anything about your arteries blocking. Your child won't do anything about it. At the most, your child can, from the outside, help you to get a healthy exercise routine or change your diet, follow your medicine regimen. But they can't change it. And we have to recognize that they cannot and they should not be called upon to change, to impact, not just change, but impact your marital or emotional, personal issues, long-standing ones. By doing this, by calling them in on this, you're turning your children into, your grown children, into witness, which they must have witnessed anyway as they were growing up, possibly, into witness, judge, jury, hangman, everything. Like suddenly a kangaroo court. Come here, we'll form a court and let's decide who's right, who's wrong. Not your child's at all, not your child's mandate. Even the most dutiful child may do it, but will not be happy at all. And they cannot be on tap for you. So when this young person is, we are told that there's a young person who's using her commuting time to just sort this out, I would suggest for anyone in this situation that, yes, maybe you want to talk to your daughter briefly about it. You want to keep her abreast of what's going on, maybe. But then you have to set a, start by, end by date. Like we set alarms, start by and end by. We will have a phone call. Let's have a phone call. I will take up 7 minutes in which I'll just update you on your father's latest misdemeanors or our latest fight. 7 minutes. The rest of it will be about the rest of life. What are you doing? What's happening with you? How are you feeling? What other good stuff I've done? What things are working in my life? So if you put in that phone call or in that meetup, this particular thing in parenthesis, bracket mein ye hai. In these brackets, we will refer. If you feel it's very artificial, to never refer to what's going on in your, what negative stuff is going on. But either you say, out of 4 phone calls, 1 phone call will be about that. Out of 1 phone call, 10% will be about that. And I think it's very important that your grown child knows that this is not going to be an interminable weeping, cribbing, venting, angry session from the parent. It is otherwise, who would want to be on that phone call? We are then really going too close to the bone of the relationship in pulling out this kind of, this buying from it so much counselorly energy from your grown children. I also want to say that a lot of people attend, seniors are told to, or they do it on their own. They attend satsangs, spiritual talks, pranayam courses, discourses, meditation, yoga, laughter clubs, whatever it is, to be to be able to handle their life and to be happier. They do that. But it's very important that that stuff has to then not just be my 7 to 8 Gita discourse. How does it then find its way into your daily life? You can't do this and then say, ye ho gaya. Now I've, worn a halo for a while. Now I'll catch hold of my daughter and tell her to sort out my marital issues. That thing has to inform your behavior. Otherwise, it's of no use. You can't have compartments in which your spiritual needs are attended to in some kind of exotic external way, but your children are paying the huge price of what is not fixed in your life, what has not been processed in your life. That is, I think, unfair to you, to your children, to the spouse who you are having issues with. And it goes nowhere. It is so circular, so circular. The question that Randhir has sent, Randhir is the brother of the couple, of the lady who's part of that couple. And obviously, it has troubled him enough to think that I need to, he's looking at his niece handling this, and has said that they have tried to intervene and counsel. It's in your daily life and interactions, if you don't bring whatever it is that you're reading or doing in terms of living better, the art of living, whatever it is, and you save up all your anger and toxic stuff to hand to your children to handle, not going to work for anybody, not going to work. Many children are endlessly dutiful, really, really. Just as there are many, children who don't do a thing, but there are many children who are endlessly dutiful and will get drawn into this. It doesn't mean that they're happy to do it, and it doesn't mean that you're solving your issue or processing it correctly at all, is what I'm saying here. One last thing before I open it to the people here with this discussion about this. One last thing is that all of us, as we age, find whether we have a troublesome marriage or a troublesome situation going on, all of us have the what is it called, like a blank time as we grow older, and our responsibilities, meaning work-wise, may be taken away from us, or as parenting responsibilities. There is a certain thing of waking up with no real feeling of relevance. And I deeply believe that all of us have to wake up and if it's not already there, to find relevance, to invent relevance. Your relevance may be to that morning, in the morning, get up and clean the water filter, something as mundane as that. Last time we were talking about this, about the therapeutic nature of mundane tasks. But if we don't do those, you have daily helpmates, this, that, systems to do all the mundane tasks. You're freeing up the decks to now, in toxic situations, you're freeing up the decks to say, okay, chalo, abhi aao maidan mein, to your spouse or whoever you're living with whom you are in at such loggerheads. So it's important to wake up and first of all say, this can't be my relevance. How I'm dealing with your father, it cannot be my relevance. How I have put up with my wife of so many years, that's not your relevance. That is your problem. And that problem has to be put into, has to be contained. It has to be contained. No one expects people to swipe it under the carpet and say, oh, I'm fine, I'm okay, put up a front and then feel better. So, sorry, Usha, are you saying something? Sorry. Oh, okay, okay. So that was my last point, that the onus is on us. Having children is absolutely no guarantee that you will be now taken care of in any mode that you choose to live. Unhealthy, toxic, fighting, depressed, overeating, whatever behaviors there are, and you say my child has to fix it for me. Not going to happen. Should not happen is more important. Not just not going to happen, should not happen. If it is happening, if you are getting that patient, 1 hour call from your son from the US or from somewhere or from next door, or he comes every evening and puts his head down and listens and listens and listens to your, very real. I'm not mocking the grief and the anger and the pressures of an older person being in a bad marriage. I'm not mocking it, but I'm saying that this cannot be fodder for your relationship with your children. It cannot be. Why make it fodder? Why do we really believe that they are going to sort it out? And if we do, then that's wrong, because they are going to try and sort it out at great cost to themselves. This is something that I would, Randir, if Randir sees this on YouTube, I don't think he's here. I would want him to remember this and to bring it up with the 2 older people he's dealing with, as well as the niece who is currently shouldering this thing. Specific help, I think I'll repeat. Suppose I say from 3 to 4 in the afternoon is a very low time for me. I eat, I nap, I get up, and I feel, or 3 to 4 a.m. even, I feel very blank and I feel very down. I wish there was somebody who would wake up at that time and chat with me. Suppose this is the thing. You can say this to your child. This is a very low time for me, but not what are you going to do for me about that low time? Are you going to set me up play dates, hobby classes, where I have to handle myself 3 to 4? No. So I'm saying, if you can bring up specifics, beta, I need your help for this. You think you could do this for me? I've been trying to find a yoga class near me. I'm not very happy with the one where I go. You think you could find me one online? Yeah. Specifics. Then children don't feel so helpless also, They feel, okay, my mother's in trouble about so-and-so thing, and I can do this for her. This I can do for her. So then you're not presenting it as a problem for whom the solution comes and you reject the solution. And then you turn that into one more, you come up with another problem. And this sort of endless and exhausting literally challenge for your children to make you happy. Okay. So this is what I had to say broadly about all of this. Would anybody like to say something here? Anyone who wants to share an experience? Anybody who's been at this side of the fence and that side of the fence? Please feel free to talk.
I'll be getting off the bus in 3 minutes. And
Okay.
I just wanted to say here that I feel that the 30-year-old daughter, we have to, as we become adults and our uh, elders become like children, we have to treat them like children. When our kids are young, we put them in situations where they have to learn things. Yeah. So similarly, as a 30-year-old, first of all, I would not entertain any call while I'm driving. I would also set boundaries in the sense that, mom or dad, we are not going into this again and again. And I'm not skilled. I'm too close to the picture to give any solutions and take sides. So I really would like you to find someone who is capable.
Yeah. And after acknowledging, the important thing is you acknowledge, I understand. You don't.
Yes.
I think a senior needs that thing, that they don't feel that you're just, handle
Don't.
it. Oh,
Yes.
problem.
And
You're not. Yeah.
And I might be sounding harsh, but it can be said in any way that, because the children know their respective parents, how they would respond and all of that. Like, I took care of my mother for the last 5 years of her life while she was going through progressive dementia, and I had learned how to you know, deal with her, um, to be loving, caring,
Hmm.
and all of that. But still, at the end of it, uh, it takes a toll, as you said. It takes a toll, and we have to have some safety net in a friend, in an aunt, in an uncle. We need
Hmm.
to rope that in.
Hmm.
I don't think by telling the adults, like, as that you cannot do this to your child, or you cannot, put your young adult daughter or son through this kind of a thing. I don't know how much does that work, but I
Hmm.
think the young people themselves, by
Yeah.
drawing boundaries,
Yeah.
can help. That
You know, by
is,
saying it here, I think what helps is that you insert the thought to an older person that it's not a given that your child must solve your problem. It's not a given. There are a lot of people
yes,
who feel it's
yes,
a given. It comes with the territory of being a grown daughter, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
That is, I agree with you.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
very Indian way of looking at
Yes.
family dynamics.
Not just Indian, you'd be surprised. And you're in the Western world, I know just now also. But these kind of things are a lot of it is also a burden on young, uh, middle-aged Western people, not young, maybe middle-aged, who are sometimes down to divorced parents who are still bickering over who will visit whom and where will they stay, all of that stuff. Basically, pulling the child from two sides is an issue all around the world. Thank you, Mita. I think Mita was on a bus or is on a bus in the Netherlands, interestingly, and is attending this thing. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. Yes,
yeah, Gauri, could I say something?
yes, sure.
Sometimes there are issues of depression, mental illness, narcissism. I mean, there are mental health issues which the one partner has been carrying for a long time and which have not been treated and which are exacerbated with old age,
Yes,
sometimes with senility creeping in. And,
yeah,
untreated mental illness can be
yes.
one of the most destructive things to the children, to the entire family, and
It has been normalized in the family, right? It's just
it's
been normal.
normalized.
Oh,
वो ऐसी है, but वो
yes.
ऐसी है is not actually normal, right?
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
this person may be, throwing tantrums on every family occasion or at the
Yeah,
start of a family occasion, and the children have
correct.
grown up seeing it. He or
Yes,
she has, demands attention constantly,
correct,
and also kind of sucks the other partner into this evil nexus, as it were, of constantly.
correct,
I mean,
correct.
being human dementors, I would say.
Hmm,
You
hmm,
know,
hmm, hmm.
I mean, Harry Potter gave this very good
Yeah,
term. I feel that there are people who are actually act like dementors, maybe not sucking out your souls, but sucking out happiness. So,
yeah.
I wish there was a way to train people to be happy, content, mentally sound, and it should begin very early in life. But a lot of people carry what is referred to as mother wound or
Mhm.
generational issues, and so much of it. And I think probably proper the child or children in this case should say, look, I understand you guys are having problems. Let's go and meet X and X and X
Yes,
or
yes.
X. But then
And you have to
parents are
see,
likely to say, nahi, nahi, aisa nahi hai, ye wo, but they should ultimately say, look, mother, this is beyond me, mother,
I
father, whoever
can't,
it is.
I
I,
can't
I,
do
I
it.
can deal with
This
it.
is important to be
And
able to say, you
yeah,
know.
and
It's
driving to work with
very,
this every day
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
criminally insane. I
yeah,
mean, if you're listening to your mother or your father whinging away, it seems the most unsafe way to drive
hmm,
or to
exactly,
work. I mean, what kind
exactly.
of mode are you entering
Yes,
your workplace
yes.
with?
And
For saying
obviously, there's literally no other time. And she sees this as the
that
free time in which she can do this, which is very sad, very, very sad.
is very very,
Ah,
very sad for the daughter. And to have that free time, I mean, she should be listening to audio books or good music
huh.
or
Truly,
something.
truly, a time to decompress, actually, right?
Actually,
Yeah,
instead of compressing even further with
yeah,
all this pressure.
that's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's a very tough situation, no doubt.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
So I think they need professional help, and the daughter or the son or whoever, whichever child it is,
Yeah.
needs to convince them that let's go meet so and so.
And I feel you have to be prepared to, it won't be easy. It'll
No,
almost
it's
always be resisted as, acha, so you don't want to listen to me. So now I've become a bore, etc., etc. You have to still, I think even the young person involved will probably need at least a few sessions with a counselor about how to do this gentle handing over of this problem to a profession, you know.
absolutely, absolutely, because
Before
he
I
or
see
she
you
is going to
smiling and nodding, do you want to
immense.
add something? I see Nilufer
Yeah.
smiling and
Can I say something?
yes, sure, sure.
So I've had this problem with my parents. Now I'm 70. My
Okay.
parents are gone long back.
Huh.
So they had horrible problems among them.
Okay.
And I have three brothers,
Hmm.
and only I could keep myself sane. All my brothers are disturbed. One is
Hmm.
in a mental asylum, one has
Oh.
lost senses, and another third one is okay, but could not
Hmm.
rise, in his business. So
Acha.
I kept saying, because I, being a girl, I first of all I got married and
Hmm.
came into a very beautiful music house. So that
Hmm.
another thing, I made myself aware that look,
Hmm.
these are karmic things. My parents,
These are what
it was
things?
meant to be. Okay, so
What's the
I
word
had
did you
such
say? Nilufer, what did the word?
karmic karma.
Karmic things. Okay, got it.
Karma.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got such parents. It was, I mean, they were very nice people, but then they did not get along well with each other. My mother
Hmm.
was an exceptionally good person.
Huh.
She was into poetry, gardening, and literature. I got all those things from her, Hindi literature
Hmm.
and all. So
Hmm.
I kept myself into, these things. I read a lot of Hindi books, English books.
Acha.
I came into gardening. I made landscape designing as my profession. And of
Acha.
course, music. My husband is a very great musician. So I also sing. So I could, keep myself sane in spite of
Huh.
my parents'
Hmm.
problem. So this is what
Hmm.
I want to tell the young people, that you can't go away from your parents. After all, they are your parents. If
Hmm.
they are in difficulty, you have to help them in
Hmm.
whatever
Hmm.
way. But
Hmm.
then at the same time, you can keep yourself sane by
Hmm.
involving yourself in certain activities. I know, but today's generation children are too busy, too busy, overworked. My
Yeah.
generation, when I was 30, 20, 40, I was
Hmm.
busy, very busy,
Hmm.
but not overstressed like these children are. So
Hmm.
I had
Hmm.
that advantage, but I have gone through hell, I'm telling you,
Hmm.
with my
Hmm.
parents. But I could keep myself very sane. But my brothers could not do so because they had
Yeah.
no way to, keep
Yeah.
themselves sane. और
So
उनको वो सब
someone
नहीं
you
था कि
someone
आर्ट और
you use the
म्यूजिक और लिटरेचर वो सब में बेंट ऑफ माइंड नहीं था उनका.
Nice. No, I'm saying somebody here, I think maybe who used the phrase to have some boundaries and borders. And I was also in one of the things that I suggested was that you make an end by and start by date about listening to the problem. If you have the
Yeah.
borders, then you'll have that extra space left for you to breathe and thrive, isn't it? I think that's what you're saying, that you did at least have that separation where you could
Hmm.
pursue things which weren't which allowed you to flower and
I
blossom.
personally, I did it personally. I was aware that I have to,
Have to do.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did it like, I
right.
mean, slowly it grew. Of course, at the age of 30, I wasn't so aware. And as
Hmm.
I grew older and older, I came into spirituality, music, and gardening, reading,
Ah.
all my activities. Then, of course, I had a very nice baby boy. He got married. I have a grandchild. Life has gone through many things, ups
Hmm.
and downs, but more ups than downs. But
Hmm.
my brothers were very unfortunate. I feel very sad for them.
Hmm. 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 Right, right. Yeah,
Maybe because I'll call it either destiny or they could not handle themselves.
right.
That's
Yeah,
one of the two. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is an important, very much an important part of this thing of not to get overwhelmed and completely consumed. Even if your part of you feels that I'll just put in this much more effort and things will change for my parents. But that is a very delicate balance between that and getting completely consumed in sorting out the older people, you know. And who said just now? Yeah, Meeta said about as if the roles are reversed, as if you are children. Even so, parents of small toddlers grow. All of them learn and are taught not to get, however much you love your child, and you have a role to see that this person goes out there in the world and grows. Um, everybody tells you that you must carve out time for yourself and be quite firm about this is my time. This is my time. I cannot be on tap. That's the word I was using that time also. That all the time I'm not available for this. I acknowledge you have a problem. I acknowledge you are consumed by it, but I can't be consumed by it. And I am going to try and help you not to be consumed by it too. This is I think if one can get across to sometimes a person just needs to hear this um,
Yes.
along with the assurance I'm there, but not in the currency in which you want me or in the quantum in which you want me. I'm there for you, but not in this on tap fashion. I think that's important to say.
I
And
think, may I interject?
yes, yeah, sure, Nita.
I think the start point is where, as you said,
Hmm.
acknowledge what they're going through.
Ah.
Then the next comes that I cannot be engaged in this endlessly.
Hmm.
Next comes that please let me help you, help yourself by pointing you in the right direction. And then that specialist takes over the practical things of how shall we do it? Shall we, try and get you to engage in different things? Shall we try and get you engaged in deep listening first so
Hmm.
that everyone feels heard?
Yeah,
You know, that
yeah.
will happen at the specialist stage. And I feel that if people have been to like 30, 40, 50 years of marriage in an acrimonious way, then maybe it'll never get sorted out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
that possibility is there.
Yes.
And
Where there is
uh,
the deep incompatibility.
yes, and then some other solution has to be, thought of
Yeah,
in that sense. And someone mentioned about um, what I understood as family constellations, where, your mother, your grandmother, and I think, Gauri, you've heard of the concept of the marching grandmothers,
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
every woman is actually, in a way, replaying
yeah.
what her mother and grandmother and great grandmother has
Yeah.
gone through. And
Yes.
we are not always aware of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That awareness, if that awareness can be brought in,
Hmm.
then a certain amount of realization comes through.
Yeah, you're inserting a gap in the relentless, you know, that relentless thing of thinking this is the only way it can be sorted.
Yes.
Inserting a
And
gap.
also when I think when we realize that I'm reacting and I'm replaying something unconsciously because that is
Hmm.
what I sort of received through. I think it sort of gets embedded in our DNA, and that is how Carl Jung actually explains it, the collective
Yeah.
conscience.
Yes. Yes.
So I
Hmm.
think when we become aware of it, when even our Asian parents, if they become aware, if they're not rigid and are open to, um, understanding, because I feel with age there is a certain amount of rigidity which sets in, and
It
That's
does.
how it is. That's how it is, and we have to just sort of accept it
Yes,
and
yes.
then work around it. But
This
if
business of venting, if
okay,
some people are coming into,
yeah,
whether it's, I'm not now not talking only about seniors, but if you only take recourse to venting and to feel better rather than get better about any emotional issue, just feel better, but not get better, then the person who's maxim, whether it's a daughter, whether it's a spouse, whoever, who is having to listen and receive this venting very regularly, that person also has to make that uh, maybe slightly painful, rude, however it comes across, but a little check dam has to be put in the way and say, wait, we've been doing it this way. I don't think I can listen to this more. You need to find another source of this, or you need to find another sidelight to put on this problem.
yeah.
Uh,
And sometimes people are not looking for solutions, because
no,
you can
no,
give a solution and they'll say, oh no, but I've done this and it doesn't help.
but
Oh
that,
no, then you do the second solution and the third and
yeah,
the fourth.
yeah,
So then you realize that
uh,
it's not about finding a solution. It's just
yeah,
about being able to complain continuously and keep the status quo. So the
yes,
question
yes,
comes here
absolutely,
is
absolutely,
what is what are you getting out of maintaining the status quo?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think when we ask that question,
yes.
then
And
it
what
sort
will
of
it take? What will
yeah,
it take you to do now? What will you have to change? That if that comes up, then it's hard work. So sometimes
yes,
it's easier,
exactly.
and you're old and you're tired, and it's easy to just play that record.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
indeed. And you don't actually really want to put in the effort
Hmm, hmm,
to
hmm.
change things, and yeah, then you have to
Hmm.
leave the person with the consequences of one
Yeah, yeah,
self to not act.
yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Does anybody else have anything to say on this?
I have something to say, Gauri.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of deep insights that you've given into the dynamics of these relationships, and truly grateful for it. I'm a believer that each relationship is quite unique. And
Hmm.
while mental health and parents who have mental ailment need to be attended to by a professional.
Yeah.
So I don't think as children we should go down that path of even trying to cope with the depression or the schizophrenia or the paranoia of a parent. That has to be dealt with. But in normal relationship, what we as parents tend to forget is
Huh.
that at the time of the marriage of the children,
Yeah.
or the time when the children are going through their careers, there's a
Hmm.
lot of dumping that the children do on us.
Yeah.
And we are like sounding boards sitting and listening to them.
Yes.
And we are very unconditional, and we are very sympathetic, and we are very empathetic, and we go and light the agarbattis and go to the Guruji or the horoscope wala to see what will happen. All this happens.
Yes.
A time comes later,
Huh.
subsequently,
Huh.
when it's sometimes time for you to give back, in my view. And
No, of
therefore,
course.
sometimes when a parent wants to vent,
Yeah.
when it is within the framework of a lovely mother that you've had or a lovely father that you had,
Yeah.
if you can put a boundary like, let's talk for half an hour and let me hear what you have
Absolutely.
to say. I think
Absolutely.
listening to
Absolutely.
the parent is key
Yes.
to this whole thing. They just
Yes.
want you to listen. They are
Yeah. But
not looking for solutions. They are not looking for
yeah.
answers. They are not looking for you to
Yeah.
even go and tell their spouse what is wrong.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just want you to sit down, put your phone aside, not
And
fiddle with your phone while they're talking to you,
yeah.
and just say, Mom, what do you have to say?
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think that in that, Gauri, oh,
That
it's the
that is
biggest therapy. It's the
that is
biggest
that is
therapy.
yes, yes. That is if the
That's the
person is not that's really that they you have to listen is fine. And with the caveat that it's in a with a boundary.
yes.
But uh the problem is that I think a lot of people do end up saying, "फिर मैं क्या करूं?" Come up with a solution. Then then you feel helpless. That what I was
No,
saying
then
about.
you have to hold out to your mama's hand and say, Ma, how long has this been going on for?
Yeah, yeah. And
10
how can
years, 15 years, 20 years, अब तक कुछ हुआ है देखो ना, अब हम कुछ और सोचेंगे या
Hmm.
कुछ और राह पर जाएंगे, या
Hmm.
आपके हाइपरटेंसिव के लिए हम कुछ योगा क्लास देखेंगे. See,
Yeah, let us
some
just go
solution.
out and eat ice cream. Yeah, literally, literally.
Let,
Yeah,
let's go and have a kulfi or an ice cream, or let's,
yeah.
you have to, with parents, I mean, you've grown up with them, so you know how to handle them. You know which
And just
buttons to push. You
and
know
also
which
like with
buttons to
children,
push.
a little bit like with children, where you're pulling
Sure.
out every little trick in the with small children.
Sure, I agree. But when
Yeah.
I feel, and of course, some people, when they, and what some mothers also do is that when the children go away, every day they make a phone call to America. Every day the married daughter reports to them what's
Oh
happening in the
yes.
marital home. And
Oh yes.
that toxicity that they build up,
Yes.
because the
Yes.
mother takes so much of nonsense which is happening in a house which she has no control over,
Yeah.
that also builds up in their own marital relationship.
Yes.
You
Yes.
see, it's all a subcon. They're so worried about their daughter. They're worried about the patriarchy, worried
Yeah.
about the toxicity in the marital home, where they have no control. So
Yeah.
now all that toxicity that you have built up for your parent, it's now
Hmm.
coming up. So now get ready to pay back time, Gauri. I think this is the way at least I look at it. It's payback time. And it's time to now allow this older person to put their head on your shoulder and cry
No
what
doubt.
you
No
have
doubt.
done for many years,
Yeah, there is no cut and dried way of
No,
handling it. There is
no.
no cut and dried unless it has gone into a zone where you are, almost having a mental breakdown. You can
Yeah.
still ask for a break from it. But yes, the sort of limited overs match is
Yes,
what
it's
you
over.
need to
Yes.
do
Yeah.
with your parents, I think. Yeah.
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 I think what
Thank you. Thank
Gauri, the scenario that I was talking about was particularly directed to a scenario where the daughter is completely overwhelmed
Meeta,
by
your audio is not
feminine.
coming through well. Not getting a sense of your audio.
Okay, because I've entered a building. Can you
Huh.
hear me now?
Yes, yes. 1 second. Huh?
Okay.
Rohit, will you put that thing on the chat, Rohit? Yeah, we're just as we start closing, we put the details on the chat about uh, the web, what am I saying? The app, the number on which people send questions, as well as the YouTube links.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Because we earlier we were just announcing it and people were finding it
Hmm.
difficult to pull down. So let it
To
sit
get
there.
back. Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yes, Meeta. So yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to, I completely agree that uh, as children who have taken, uh, who have received love, affection.
No, Meeta, the thing is
And,
scattering the voice. Sound
okay,
is
can you hear me now?
yes, yes.
Okay. I wanted to say that you started with a scenario where the young daughter, the adult daughter, rather, is completely overwhelmed by the autonomy which exists between the parents. So it is a given before you reach that point of time that you are, it is your payback time. You will now have to invest time into listening, into giving your parents that space where they can vent. So when it goes beyond the point where you yourself are so badly affected that you're getting overwhelmed, I think that is the time you have to acknowledge and realize that I'm on a breaking point myself.
I'm on a, what did you say?
Breaking point.
Breaking point. Got it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And then, that is the point where you have to acknowledge for yourself that I can't do it. I'm not maybe strong
And
enough. I don't have the
it's a
time. I don't
disservice
have the
to everybody.
skill.
Yeah,
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 it applies to every one of us.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So while I completely agree
Hmm.
with sorry, I didn't get
Nilufer,
the name
Nilufer.
of the lady.
Yeah.
I completely agree. But at the same time, we have to for ourselves know how far can we go because we have other responsibilities too. We have responsibilities towards your marriage, your children, your work.
Yeah.
You don't understand that, the medical science. That's the time when you have to then
No,
how
I
to
think
say
it's
that?
soft now what you're saying. I don't think people
Yeah.
are now it's very soft what you're saying.
Okay, I said that one has to know one own.
Yes, that we got
And
what you said.
when
Yeah.
you can't, when you are not able to, then it is that is the point where you set the boundary and you get in help, you get in other resources in place.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will say bye bye to everyone. Thank you
Yes.
so much for
Thank
letting
you
me
for
be part of
joining on the
this.
move like that. Thank you for joining on the move. Thanks.
Thank
We
you.
will soon be closing the thing. Just a quick thing on the next week's theme. The next week's theme, our question is related to uh, how much a grandparent uh, should be expected to provide babysitting in what this is something that the theme is that this needs to be discussed before a baby even comes on the scene. And the question is from somebody. The question, of course, I'll read on that day. Yeah. Friday. So I'm seeing you next week, all of you. Are we out of time, Rohit? Yes, we are. It's 5, is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Being in this session of Dil Ki Baatein, and we will meet again next Friday.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you so
Bye.
much, Gauri.